All right. Welcome, everyone. Hopefully this is your last session of the day, and you've got a very fun evening on Ignite planned, your last night here at the show. Thrilled to have everyone here. Just so you know, this is a partner session. So if you're a customer, you may get less value out of this one. We are specifically talking about how our Microsoft partners have an opportunity to help our customers modernize Oracle, SAP, and VMware workloads in Azure. So I'm Sue Hartford. I work in Azure product marketing, and I lead a team of folks who really make sure and work with our engineering teams to make sure that we've got some of the best solutions around these workloads for all of you to work with. I'm also going to be joined today by Stephen Boyle. He's here. He's from Microsoft, and he leads all of our global SI and advisory partners. And also, we're thrilled to have a partner here on stage with us today, Shishank Gupta from Infosys. So the agenda is I'm going to kick off today. I'm going to talk to you about these workloads we have and why we believe we've built one of the best places for you to run these workloads in the cloud with confidence. And then I'm going to turn things over to Stephen. Stephen and Shashank are going to talk a little bit about how they bring that to life for real, how partners can bring that to life for customers in the real world. And then finally, Stephen will finish with the programs and offerings that we have in place to support all of you on that journey. All right, so by now you've heard a lot this week about frontier transformation, right? And the top use cases that we see here on the left side of the slide are incredibly important, and this is where the customers are seeing a lot of success here in the early days of transforming with AI. And that relies on the technology on the right. But how do you include those traditional workloads that customers are currently running so much of their business on? And often having those be on-premises, perhaps, running on software from companies like Oracle, SAP, and VMware. These workloads can be very complex to modernize, and often they're the last workloads to actually move to the cloud. But in the fast-moving era of AI, I would challenge that it is absolutely imperative that we bring the corporate business-critical data that is running on those workloads, bring that into Azure so that we can all help our customers modernize and transform on that important information. So let's talk a little bit more about the opportunity for these workloads. VMware, still so much of this workload running on premises today. We estimate there's still at least 70 million instances of VMware workloads running on premises today. Customers are looking to modernize, are looking to find ways to get this into the cloud, into the new era, and they're looking for help from all of you. The same really with Oracle. Oracle, I've seen estimates that only 12% has moved to any public cloud anywhere. So that is if you think about that, that is just a lot of really important business data that has an opportunity to bring to the cloud and unlock some innovation around. And then finally, SAP. I know we have a lot of partners that have been working with us to modernize that SAP journey. And we still estimate that there's 25,000 of those customer workloads still running on-prem. Now, when you bring these workloads to the cloud, usually you're going to be modernizing along the way. So for something like SAP, they're also making a move from an older version of those applications, which are all, some of these are like ECC are going end of life here by 2027, and so they've got a deadline to meet. And that modernization would also include an upgrade to something like S/4HANA. We estimate 53% of those still haven't even licensed that. So there's a lot of work here to be done by our customers. And when you think about this, AI innovation is going to be at its most powerful when it can tap into these systems of record. Think about your customers. Where is their most important business information today? If you're trying to create a new business process workflow, let's say, thinking about the purchasing process and how you might enable your sales team or your customer service team to tap into, maybe you have data across all three of these vendor workloads. Again, it would be It would be hard if all of that is still sitting in a silo and you're trying to transform for your customers, and then you find out, wait a minute, this is actually still trapped in a place that it's making it really hard for me to do that. So what do? So here at Microsoft, we've invested very heavily in making Azure the best place to run these complex mission-critical workloads. We actually, our product teams are, got a lot of them in the room here today with us actually, you know, they work very closely with their peers at these companies to make sure that we've built a platform in Azure that can be trusted to run these important business workloads with high performance, high reliability, and high security. So for example, we are plugging these directly into the Azure, the networking layer, so that you get the lowest latency, highest performance you know, connections between, for example, your data and your applications wherever they're running in Azure. The same with the security. We want to make sure that all of the security that you're running any workload on Azure also applies to these workloads as well. So what does that journey look like? Now, I feel like we would all love to jump to the right-hand side of this slide, and let's just start transforming with AI. Unfortunately, that is generally not the real world. Usually the first step is you have to get your cloud infrastructure and your data estate in order. So if you start by doing the migration and getting those workloads optimized and running with, you know, with the best performance and resiliency in Azure, then you can start to innovate on top of that. Usually the second step then for customers is, how do I unify my data platform? I have all of these different types of workloads. I've brought them together in the cloud. What do I want to do now? They're going to need help and advice from all of you on, you know, is this a great use for something like Microsoft Fabric, or, you know, what are we going to do? And then how do I get all of that data estate into a place where my users can actually get intelligent insights across their entire data estate, bringing all of that together. And we actually do a lot of work with our partners then to make sure that we actually can speed up you know, the user experience as well. So once that data is there, how are we using things like Power BI to be able to unlock the insights from that data? Or we do integration sometimes with our partners even around the M365 suite of products, so that if I'm approving purchase orders or approving invoices, I don't need to go log into my SAP or my Oracle app. I can do that right within my Teams or you know, even an email type experience. So these are the great kind of business process innovations that are happening all the time today. And then finally, the third step is this continued innovation wheel around AI. So how do you use Copilot? Do you want to build your own business process workflows, or do you want to take advantage maybe of some of the pre-built things that we're working with, building with our partners? So this is the type of journey that I would encourage all of you to think about as you're working with your customers. So now I'm going to dig into each one of these workloads just a little bit. I want to just tell you more about what we have available for you and some of the new things that maybe you've missed that we've announced just in the last few months. So when it comes to SAP innovation, we've worked really hard over a number of years to build an optimized, trusted cloud infrastructure to run SAP workloads. In fact, it is certified by SAP, and it's currently trusted by thousands of customers running this in Azure today. In fact, SAP themselves run their own IT business on Azure, as well as a lot of their cloud services that they offer to their customers are also running on Azure. Today we have, for example, 45 regions of their Rise with SAP running globally to support our mutual customers. But it doesn't stop there. Once in the cloud, these customers really want to keep innovating, right? So that really is just that first step in that transformation journey. So again, our engineering teams work together constantly to make sure that we are building the right integrations for things like Microsoft 365 so that we can really supercharge that productivity from our customers. You might have heard, for example, several years ago in the middle of COVID, we had a big announcement around Teams, right? Everyone was jumping online with Teams, and that was an integration that we built together with them. Customers also have the ability to unify their SAP data with non-SAP data on the Microsoft Cloud. And we actually made a big announcement this week. I don't know if you caught the Arun's session on the data estate, but we were excited to announce that we now are working on and planning to deliver next year a new SAP, let's see, let me get the terminology right, support for SAP BDC Connect for Microsoft Fabric. So this is going to be a solution that we will bring out mid next year. Alongside maybe some of the other types of ways that customers are bringing their data into Fabric from SAP. And then finally, we want to make sure that we continue to innovate across security. So we have integrations with things like Microsoft Sentinel and Entra and all of those services. Finally, we are excited about the work we're doing with them around AI. And the other announcement that you've probably heard of in the last year or so is the work we're doing around their Copilot assistant they call Joule. And so we now are GA with Copilot Joule running inside of Microsoft 365. So what are some of the new things that we've been talking about lately? One of the things if you missed it earlier this year, we announced the SAP Business Suite Acceleration Initiative with the Microsoft Cloud. So this is exclusive to Microsoft, and it means that we are working very closely with SAP around some programs that help customers that are moving to that new suite. They've sort of renamed a lot of their ERP data and AI into what they call the Business Suite, and we have programs that partners can take advantage of. If you're interested, definitely get a hold of us and we can tell you more about that. We now offer both SAP BTP and BDC on the Microsoft Marketplace. So that makes it easy for you or your customers to purchase those services directly through the Marketplace like you do many other things. And then the other kind of interesting thing here is that we are the first cloud provider to enable a 99.5% SLA option for running RISE with SAP. So this is important when you've got some customers who just want that extra level of performance and reliability for given workloads. Just want you to know that that is available. Now in the area of data and AI, I already talked about the new SAP Business Data Cloud Connect for Microsoft Fabric. We've had a lot of demand for that. We're very excited to have that coming now with SAP for our mutual customers. But even today, we already are running SAP Business Data Cloud, including SAP Databricks, on Azure data centers. So if you've got customers who are more focused on maybe that type of a data lake solution, that is available as well. And then in the area of security, we continue to innovate. We just recently have added more integrations around both our first-party solutions like Sentinel, as well as some of our security ISVs like Security Bridge and Synapsys. All right, so now I'm going to switch gears and let's talk about Oracle. So this is a relatively newer solution that we now offer on the Microsoft Cloud. And it is basically a service where Oracle runs their cloud database services inside of our Azure data centers. Now this means that any customer running an Oracle database on-prem, and this includes even their big high-performance Exadata database services, are now able to have a streamlined experience into bringing those databases to Azure, where this is especially important if they are trying to connect those databases to applications that are already running in Azure, because in that high performance situation, you need the lowest latency possible. And we're excited that we're able to offer microsecond latency because it's all operating on the same network inside of our data centers today. And Oracle Database at Azure now offers nearly every flavor of Oracle database that your customer might be running, whether that be the traditional base database, which is like a general purpose database, the autonomous database, which is their more modern, automated version of their databases, and then, as I said, even their biggest, most powerful Exadata. One of the questions we get asked a lot by customers, and you will too, is does this support RAC? So RAC is their high resiliency solution that they've architected a lot of their databases with, and the answer is yes. That is built in to all of these solutions. And that streamlines the migration. It takes a lot of the friction out of the process of bringing these workloads to Azure. We've really been surprised at really how smoothly this has been going for customers. So we're very excited to have this available for all of you. Now, in addition to these databases, we also are a supported cloud to run the Oracle line of business applications. So that might be things like PeopleSoft or eBusiness Suite or JD Edwards and more. Now, we have a lot of customers that have been running these and bringing these to the cloud as well, because they're putting everything, all of their data into the cloud. And so this is definitely something, I think if you're out there talking to your Oracle customers, you'll see that they're pretty excited to hear about. All right, once these Oracle Cloud workloads are running in Azure, just like I talked about with SAP, customers want to start innovating. They want to start getting more insights out of this data along with the other types of data that they have. And so we have already created integrations with services like Microsoft Fabric, like Purview, to be able to govern the use of this data from end to end, just like they were doing on premises. We also have, certified and worked with our AI services. So whether you're working with Foundry or Copilot Studio, these all work very smoothly for customers. And of course, our security stack with Sentinel and Defender, we want that to be, you to be able to use that against the workloads in Oracle Database at Azure. And then just recently, we actually have, we added integration for Arc. So the latest news, if you haven't been following us, we've got 31 regions around the globe. So open, ready for business. By bringing the Oracle-based database, I feel like we just rounded out our portfolio for offering nearly any Oracle database you could want to run, and have every version, right? Whether you've got 19C or their new 26 AI. We are always, going to make sure you've got the latest technology available. Again, for management and security, we now are plugged into Azure Arc, so you're plugged into the management control plane of Azure, as well as our popular security services, such as Microsoft Defender, Microsoft Sentinel, and of course Entra for your identity uses. And then we are also very excited that we were able to now offer first-party mirroring for your Oracle databases in Microsoft Fabric. That's generally available today. So pretty exciting that that's not something that's coming soon. That's there, you can do that now. And we also just recently brought their Oracle Golden Gate service to Oracle Database at Azure. That is, an Oracle DBA will be very familiar with the ability to move Oracle data around using that service. And so it's now available in Azure, and as a result, it's in the marketplace, right? So you can purchase Oracle Database at Azure, any of these services, through the Microsoft Marketplace. Okay, so that's my overview of our Oracle and Azure solution. And finally, I'm going to talk a little bit about our cloud solutions for VMware. So Microsoft offers a very comprehensive set of options to help you modernize VMware workloads in Azure. And this is important because customers are actively evaluating their options, and no single option is really right for every workload. So we recommend that partners work with the customers to assess the customer's VMware environment and help them develop a plan based on the 6 Rs. If you're familiar with Gartner's 6 Rs, whether it be rehosting and replatform, refactor, re-architect, retain, or retire, right? I think a lot of customers are a little bit stuck right now. They're trying to move forward, and we really encourage comprehensive assessment of their VMware environment. And that is something where a partner can really step in and help them take them through that process. Many of our customers end up using a mix of these things, right? Well, if they need to get in maybe a quick data center exit, their lease is ending, they might, really start by doing that initial migration, things that can happen quickly. So whether I can get things into IaaS and PaaS services that don't require a lot of refactoring. So let's say something like maybe some of these workloads can go to an Azure VM, or they can go to maybe like a SQL server can go straight into a SQL DB for a PaaS service. Those can be pretty smooth migrations for some workloads. For others, it's not. They're too complex. It's hard. And it just makes sense sometimes to go ahead and have them come into the Azure VMware Solution. That's just a managed VCF environment in Azure. And it's a very streamlined migration because you're not making a lot of changes. And that sometimes can just be the best way to get some of these workloads into the cloud. And then over time, customers can evaluate, do they want to continue modernizing, or is that something that's good enough for them? So we feel like we've got the right set of solutions here so that customers can recognize immediate benefits in the cloud on day one with these solutions, and then you can continue to optimize over time. So recent news in this area. Broadcom, effective November 1st, has gone to a complete BYOL model for their licensing if you do come to the Azure VMware Solution or any VMware solution on any hyperscaler. Now, truthfully, most customers own VCF subscriptions and licenses already, and so I don't know that it changes things a whole lot. We've already supported the BYOL model with our Azure VMware Solution, and it really makes no change to the product. It will still continue to be a fully managed VCF environment that Microsoft manages. So we take care of a lot of the infrastructure, underlying infrastructure for the customer. Now, AVS is available today in 36 regions. We've opened up a couple more if you haven't been keeping track. We've also added some new certifications, such as our IL5 certification for AS and Azure Gov. Finally today, hopefully this week, you've noticed that we've got some new capabilities for taking workloads to a native Azure service. So we've been showing our new agentic AI assessments in Azure Migrate so that this helps you kind of streamline the process of looking across the workloads, the VMware workloads on premises, and creating a plan and getting those into some of these more modern IaaS and PaaS services. So if you haven't seen those sessions, I really encourage you to go check those out later. Hopefully, they've all been recorded, and give that a try. We'd love to hear how it's working for you. So partner updates, we're really just encouraging all of you to help customers find the right plan for their VMware workloads, whether that is working with AVS BYOL or Azure IaaS and PaaS or a mix of the two. But we did want to let everyone know that we do now offer Dr. Migrate benchmark TCO that's available for partners. And Azure Accelerate can also now pay partners for completing these assessments for your customers. So this is news for all of you. All right, well, thank you for letting me take some time to give you an overview of how we strive to make Azure the best place to run these really mission-critical workloads. I'm now pleased to invite Stephen Boyle on stage so he can talk to you about how partners can bring this to life for your customers.
Thank you, Sue. Good afternoon, everybody. Let's keep this high energy. I want to get to questions, so we're going to move fairly fast. Shashank's going to join me on stage, and we're going to move right into a little brief introductions and then the meat of the conversation. So, Shashank, I couldn't think of a better person, right? The Senior Vice President of the Microsoft Business Unit at Infosys. You do cloud modernization for a living. You know these workloads back to front and upside down. So before we get to the technology side, we spend a lot of time this week talking about technology. Give us a little introduction and then tell us a little bit about the business outcomes that the customer really cares about that these technologies unlock.
I think that's a great start, Stephen, and I would have begun my response to any question with saying, as partners, it's important for us to understand what are we trying to solve for. Most times the client is not saying and inviting us to say, I want an Azure migration, come and help me with the solution. Most times they don't even know they want this. It's up to us to sense and identify the opportunity. Let's talk of the outcomes. Let me first talk of some of the triggers that can lead to this conversation and sometimes the outcomes that we can proactively propose to our clients. Many times the triggers for these movements to cloud solutions can be around, I have an exit coming up on my data centers. What do I do? Do I renew it? Do I look for an alternate option? I have challenges with my security posture in the current way that I'm set up. Is there an opportunity for me to do something different? Can I drive the way I do things differently by leveraging concepts of DevOps and so on and so forth? Can I drive greater insights from all the information that I have through my workloads and my business applications that are running in a different and a more strategic way? Now, those are pointers or sensors to us to say, here is an opportunity for us to look at a cloud solution which can really help down, not to say driving down costs, a big, big lever when you're moving from on-prem to cloud. Now, those are levers to say, how do you move to cloud? Now, why Azure and why not something else? I think Sue covered a lot of that in her commentary in terms of why Azure. Azure provides an integrated ecosystem of products on Microsoft Suite itself, plus the integration that it provides with the other partner systems so that you can drive and achieve these objectives. I forgot to talk about high availability. That's another key element of what our clients are looking for. High availability, faster speed to response, lower cost of operations, and obviously, they can drive business outcomes in terms of if you take somebody running on SAP, if they can help drive greater visibility on supply chain, shorter time to market, those are business benefits as well that we should be looking out for and positioning the migrations.
Thanks, Shashank. And you mentioned a couple of important things there. High availability, risk reduction, resilience. These are all things that Azure, the solutions that we're talking about in the enterprise mission critical world that we're all living in and thinking about, and then with partners like Infosys, clearly the ability to do that as seamlessly as possible without disruption and everything else. So let's flip a little bit to the three solutions that Sue just talked about and give us an example of where you've done, how you do it, what are the differentiations that you bring to the customers, and then touch on VMware, Oracle, and SAP in whatever order you see fit, my friend.
Sure, absolutely, Stephen. I think when we look at it for Infosys, and you'll hear these terms very often, Infosys Cobalt and Infosys Topaz. Infosys Cobalt is really our AI-first cloud platform, and Infosys Topaz is really our AI-first suite of services and solutions. And now these two really are the vehicles on which we drive all our conversation with our clients. And needless to say, after what you've heard from Sue on what Azure platform can provide, these beautifully complement what Azure has to provide in terms of a platform and cloud platform along with the capabilities on services that we can drive on AI. Now for us, it's about both modernizing our client's estate as well as driving value in terms of business outcomes. And I think we look at three broad outcomes and themes on it. We look at speed. How can we drive this at speed? How can we drive this at scale? Because it's not about doing POCs in pockets, but really the clients that we work for are really working at scale. And how do we drive it with resilience as focus? And resilience will cover elements of security, maintainability, and so on, availability, and so on. So those are the key three tenets on which we focus on driving our solutions on. And as I said, what Azure has to provide and what we bring as NSI providers really complement each other very well. And when we've looked at our examples, and whether it could be an insurer in North America where they were trying to get off the Oracle databases on-prem to a cloud infrastructure, or a global manufacturing firm who had SAP instances, and they had to really look at moving from the traditional ECC to S/4HANA. The problem statements were very similar, as I already spoke about. How do you drive down cost, increase value, improve availability, security, bring insights into what we do? I mean, that is one of the key questions that they had. You not just lift and shift, but make sure you can bring insights into what we do, because that has a business impact for them to take key decisions. And in all of these cases, the way we were able to do it is really not just lift and shift again. We typically follow an approach where we begin with an assessment of the estate to understand what needs to change, what needs to be optimized. There are opportunities for us as providers to also optimize the way they're set up, the licenses they have, the tool set that they have, and so on and so forth. You can re-architect solutions now on cloud in a very different way so that it can provide the greater value to our clients, and again, leverage the Azure ecosystem and leverage the capability it provides. So we will re-architect it in where required. And we obviously use our own internal IPs, I'm sure like many of you would have, to drive the assessments faster, to drive the migrations faster, to drive the validations faster, and so on and so forth. Now, what we have seen in almost all of these cases, including VMware, where our clients had to move, whether it was for all the other reasons, as well as have a better disaster recovery posture, we were able to see benefits anywhere from 25 to 35% for our clients in terms of the cost of operations coming down. And that's just the cost of operations. And I think there are others which are intangible benefits. I already spoke about the security posture, driving greater insights, and so on and so forth. And that's really been, I think, the story of we can look after engagement after engagement. If we focus on the right outcomes for the clients, leverage our own differentiators, and leverage what Azure ecosystem can provide, I think we have a winning combination.
Thanks, Shashank. One last question. Let's take those 3 solution areas that we've talked about, the business outcomes that you've mentioned. Think about what Microsoft's been talking about this week and what Judson presented to us on Tuesday morning in the concept of a frontier transformation. So you're very familiar, you're very AI-led, you're great customer zero for Microsoft solutions, and you're talking and walking the same language that we are out to our joint customers. So how do you tie that together and really think about how Infosys and Microsoft together help us on this agentic journey to a frontier firm or a frontier transformation?
And that's a wonderful question, Stephen. So I'm going to answer this, which is slightly different from the core agenda, and I'll bring that back to the agenda of how does it also work for our customers on SAP and Oracle and those areas. See, the key thing, and the few things that I recall from a conversation that Judson spoke about, right, about AI and innovation in the flow of work. It's very, very important if we have to scale, we have to make sure that AI is available to everyone in the work that we do, in the flow of work that we do. It's going to be hard for us to expect people to go out. Now, what that essentially means to us, and even our users, as we reimagine the workflows in the context of SAP and Oracle and other workflows, how do we build AI in what we do? It cannot be in isolation, it cannot be a co-pilot outside, which brings to the third element that I think Judson spoke about, is all about the whole AI framework and the agentic framework that we have, and Agent 365 and all of those things. How do you bring agents, not just from Microsoft, but have an ecosystem of agents to all come together? Now, as we reimagine these workloads, I think it's very important for us to do that. What we are doing as Infosys clearly is also looking at the AI transformation on 2 fronts. One really is, what is AI doing for our business, our own business, and then we can take that examples to our clients, and equally what it is doing for our employees internally in terms of their own experience and productivity. So there are these 2 distinct elements on which we are looking at AI. And when you look at that and break it down, it really, in some ways branches off itself into technology transformation of building agents for the work that all of our employees do. And the other one is really enabling the entire workflows transformation piece, which is new roles, new enablement and training. And biggest of them all is change, managing change in this new world. So those are the 2 broad things that we do. And internally, we have been wanting to be the frontier organization. It's a journey that we are on. And we've built solutions internally which our employees use end-to-end in their flow of work in what they do, as well as really create more agentic end-to-end solutions where we are leveraging both SAP and Microsoft 365 Copilots to run end-to-end solutions for our order-to-cash invoicing process and be able to drive down the overall cost of operations by a few $1 million. So we are trying to live that ourselves, and our idea is to take those stories, those solutions to our clients who are in their journey of workplace transformation or in the area of ERP and other business processes. And it could also be, as I said, tied to migrations, that when we look for our clients, don't limit it to technical migrations, but also look and see how you can transform and reimagine the way work is done today, and absolutely leverage what we've been speaking about and helping them being a frontier organization.
Excellent. Shashank, I couldn't have thought of a better person to tell that story. Thank you very much. Mr. Althoff says, great what you're doing now. Could we do a little bit more and could we do a little faster?
And that's why we're all here. I'm sure we can all do it more and a little faster. All of us are doing it in our own ways, and I think forums like this provide us an opportunity to share and learn from each other and collectively do better and deliver greater value to our clients and our own businesses. So thank you for the opportunity, and
thanks, Shashank.
I hope you all had a great event.
So look, I'll wrap it up and then I'll give you the opportunity to ask a few questions. Look, sometimes we can be guilty of making it complicated in how we, serve up incentives. I'm the first to admit that, and if you want to ask a question about it, I'm just, I want to get right to the heart of. With Azure Accelerate, we have made it as simple and as comprehensive to unlock everything that you heard Sue talk about today. We've tried to make the ingestion process, the processing and the support and the acceptance and the approval of everything that we do end to end. And there's a lot of people in the room in the front row who can speak in much more depth about how Azure Accelerate works, but we've really listened to the feedback that we get from partners all the time. We've really tried to approach this in a different way. We spend billions on incentives, and we want to make sure that they land in the right hands and that they do the right things for us at scale. At the end of the day, we're all trying to help our customers get to a better place, get the right business outcomes, transform their business, stay relevant, stay competitive in whatever marketplace they're in. So please learn more about Azure Accelerate. Ask us after this, but know that we are doubling down on our investments into these three critical complex migrations and into a lot of other things as well. So that's one thing that I wanted to leave you with. And then the second thing is, our product marketing, our product engineering, I think, delivers us amazing solutions. I got the opportunity to go to Oracle AI World back a few weeks ago and met, some of you might have been in the room. We did a presentation there. Our ability to deliver on that Oracle promise 2 years from when Satya and Larry shook hands in September 2023 is phenomenal testament to what our product engineering groups have built for us around the world, and Sue talked about that. The second thing is our product marketing people deliver up an amazing, sometimes maybe too much volume of content, but amazing content. Me and my organization, I have cloud solution architects who can help you better understand how to build practices, how to get skilled at scale, how to better serve your customers. So I really think we're honestly running out of excuses on why we shouldn't do some of the things that you've heard about today. Now, the customer is where we center all of our efforts, and the customer is, at the end of the day, is asking those hard questions. What's it going to take for me to agentify my business? Do I need to agentify my business? There are reports out there that says this might be a bubble. I hope nobody in the room actually believes that. I think that would be, frankly, a very silly position to take, given what we've already seen in the last 18 months to 2 years in terms of AI development. So I really, really encourage you to embrace what you've heard this week. Know that we are with you 100%. We want to train you, skill you, help you build practices, invest in your future. If you can help us invest in the future of our customers. And as Judson said the other day, we've tied the story together now from Work IQ to Fabric IQ to Foundry IQ in new and different ways. And we're really all learning about that right now, and I want to make sure that we transfer all of that skill set out to you so that we can support our joint customers in new and different ways. We have 7 minutes left. Sue, I think, is going to come back on stage. We've got a microphone in the middle, which I would encourage you to use so that anybody who's streaming can actually hear us, but who's brave enough to ask the first question? And it can't be a Microsoft person. No questions. You guys are worn out after 3 days of Ignite, clearly.
Maybe we should ask them some questions.
Absolutely. So did everybody see the keynote on Tuesday morning live or streamed? Everybody was there? Anybody care to offer up a reaction to what you heard from Judson? I mean, I'll spark it for you. A couple of people have said to me, oh, wow, where's Satya? Okay, I mean, that's one reaction, right? So I'm interested to hear your feedback. We still announced 70 new products, 70-ish new products. I've lost count. I haven't read Takeshi's book of news yet. I apologize, Takeshi. But you saw a very different face of Microsoft. Judson Althoff is the CEO of our commercial business, and the way that he approaches this brave new world. I mean, just any reaction, positive, negative, I don't mind. I'd love to hear your feedback.
I'll start. I'll be the brave one.
Thank you, sir.
My name is Asher. I run Partnership Leaders. As we're a platform that is elevating partnerships as a whole, the profession. So people that want to go from IC to become Nicole Deason, we support them.
Nice.
So it was great to actually see very younger people in the keynote. I think the lady who's running your business AI, Asha.
Asha? Yeah.
What an amazing career she's had. And then the guy that came on later on was also pretty awesome. And the fact that everybody was pretty casual on stage and actually just sharing technology, but in a very human way, I thought it was fantastic. So that was one big takeaway from the keynote.
So he doesn't want to see me anymore because I'm the old.
I feel like we need to go put our jeans on now.
So we have this program at Microsoft called the Aspire program, where we take in college graduates and MBAs, and I'm fortunate enough to have a couple of MBAs in my team. All I can say is the future is bright. Right? I mean, I think the education levels and the skill sets and the knowledge, they're just so different. I've been in the industry a long time. I was thinking I've got 20 years just between Microsoft and Oracle, and that's probably might be the majority of my career, but we're not going to go into graphic detail on that one. But yeah, I love the energy. Thank you for calling that out, because it is, it's a new inflection point for all of us, and it's a new inflection point for Microsoft as well. And I think we've got some awesome leaders to take us into this next era. Anybody else? It's like the bar open outside. You just wanted me to shut up so you can go to the bar. Sue, any last comments?
Just hopefully, let us know if this resonates for you, if you've got any feedback for us. That's why we're here. Let us know. For all of these workloads, by the way, our wonderful partner team, they have communities. So if you're not plugged into those partner programs and jumping on our monthly community calls and things, please reach out and get plugged in, because we've got updates coming at you very, very frequently. So
I think the beauty of what you just described is that we actually have wonderful partnerships with SAP, with Oracle,
right,
and with VMware. And we live in a world of competition, right? I don't want you to think that, like, when Larry shook hands with Satya, or the long relationship that we've had with SAP, we are very invested in each other's success, right? The pies are getting bigger, the pies are shifting, and there's definitely an awful lot of opportunity for us to work together. Kalyan was just telling me before I got on stage, the Oracle guys are coming to us saying, my customer needs ODAA, my customer needs that close proximity to Azure in new and different ways, whether it's to unlock an agentic opportunity or for some other reasons. So, I don't want you to think we're standing up here saying we don't like SAP, Oracle, VMware. We embrace them, we work closely with them at the engineering level, all the way out into the field as well. And so I encourage you as partners to embrace that multi-way, way of doing business, because it is definitely the future. And the partner-partner motion is probably more important than it's ever been as we sail into this agentic world. So look, if there's no more questions, I won't beg anymore. Sue, Shashank, Stephen, we appreciate you being here. We know it's a great investment in your time. Hopefully it's been a useful week, and we can go back to, to work, and there's lots of great opportunities for us to engage in. So thank you, everybody.